Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. And tonight, we're going to talk about an oops that was made by Valve that probably has Gabe Newell crapping his pants right about now. But they recently uploaded a video showing off some of the Steam Deck stuff. And in that video, some eagle-eyed watcher saw that they had the Yuza Switch emulator on the screenshot for that. So once somebody pointed that out, it was quickly taken down and replaced with an icon of Portal. So that was a big whoops. I kind of wonder if the red phone from Nintendo was ringing on Gabe's desk, or if he had the Peter tingle going on when he's like, we're going to get sued by Nintendo, because we all know Nintendo is very litigious, right? They will sue the crap out of anybody that infringes on anything of theirs. And if they find out that you are, installing ROMs and emulating their console, they've gone after people for this. It's kind of a gray, not so gray area, right? Emulatings and ROMs are not necessarily legal by any means. I mean, a company has to actually publish the ROM and sell the ROM, which Nintendo does not do. So if you're playing an emulated Nintendo game, typically that's not sanctioned. Most people are kind of treated as a gray area because, I purchased the game, so now I'm entitled to the ROM, right? The whole backup copy situation and legality loophole that they use to get around that, which is still not technically legal. It's a gray area that is still out there, but technically it's still not legal. So, and with the Nintendo being sue happy as they are, I'm sure when they heard about this, or if they didn't see it, they will now, because it's all over the interwebs. No darn kids interwebs. It's all over the place, So basically, that emulator allows you to play Switch games on devices that aren't a Switch. We've heard about this. There's been videos on YouTube about this that have gotten quickly taken down. I'm assuming Nintendo's probably mostly the culprit of it, going out there and striking down copyright on all these videos and saying that it's unlicensed content and things like that. It's been out there that the Steam Deck is able to emulate these for a while now. It's morally gray, legally not gray area that people operate in with ROMs. Unfortunately, I wish more companies would buy into the whole, we'll sell you a ROM, or if you purchase the full game, we'll give you a ROM, because that would make things so much easier. I mean, in things like this, because if I could go out and directly purchase ROMs from a company and they were, not the cost of full game, or games that are 20, 30 years old or whatever, I would love to have a ROM collection of those. And I wouldn't mind going out to the originator of those and being like, I'll give you $10 for the ROM or something, that way they can keep getting money on this stuff years and years after, when their product's no longer on the shelves and stuff like that. You're not going out there and getting a Nintendo 6. You can go out and get a Nintendo 64, but you're not buying one brand new off the shelf from Walmart or Target or anything like that. You're going to the used game store, buying either an analog converter, or you're buying yourself an old tube television and plugging all that stuff in to make it work. It'd be much easier if we can just emulate it and play it. But it's in the world that we are today. But I think Gabe's probably crapping his pants a little bit. If not, he probably had to go at least get a change of underwear for some skid marks. What do you guys think, Shane? What do you think about this faux pas by Valve showing off the use game emulator on some of their screen information and their informational videos they put out?
Insert Jar Jar Binks, because Gabe Newell using treble. That's hilarious. I mean, a multi-million-dollar company made what could be a multi-million-dollar lawsuit possible. I agree with Pat. I mean, Nintendo should sell you ROMs. I mean, people like to play that so much. Sell it to them. Charge me $10 and I'll play the original Mario. Stuff like that. I think it's kind of nuts for them not to. But as far as the Steam Deck goes, I mean, think about it. The Steam Deck is the version of Switch that you want. It's powerful and plays, gorgeous games. It's slightly, modern. I mean, it's modern compared to the Switch. I mean, as far as power and graphics, um, Nintendo was probably pretty ticked off about this, and you know, USA. I don't know. I don't know how you run USA on your Steam Deck, but uh, I imagine that's probably going to get pulled down or attacked by you know Nintendo pretty quickly. And then what can happen to Steam Deck? I mean, if if they're allowing the running of an emulator like that,
So
because that's not it's
it,
not a PC tech. I mean that.
I mean,
Could just
technically it
build.
is. You can install things on the Steam Deck, and that's what it is. It's just a ROM emulator, and they installed it on their Steam. But here's the thing. They basically, a lot of people outside of the community of ROMs and stuff like that don't know much about the software or the emulators that are out there. But this basically just broadcasted a popular emulator that you could go out and Google find if you wanted to, right? But now that people who aren't necessarily savvy, they're like, what's Yuzu? And they're going to go out and be like, oh, how do I install this on the Steam Deck? Which all the videos that used to be on YouTube got taken down and stuff like that because, whatever. But now I think the legality of it wasn't in Steam's wheelhouse because it's just like a PC. Microsoft can't control what you install on the PC. But now that there's techno information that has come out, technological information that came out in a video that shows it on their console, that probably creates another legality issue for them, because that means somebody in their team who created the media for the videos had this installed, which technically is not, having that app installed is not necessarily illegal. But if you have a ROM, that's what makes it illegal at that point, right? Because now you have an illegally obtained piece of software.
So Steam basically gave an advertisement for the ability to run illegal ROMs. So yeah, that can bite them in the ding ding pretty hard. I mean, if Nintendo wants, I'm sure they could whip up a lawyer to say something. I find it hilarious though. I mean, I do. It's like everybody's been dying for a Switch Pro, that plays 4K games and crap. Gabe Newell's like, here you go, I can do it. So I don't know. It's hilarious to me. I think you'll probably hear about a lawsuit probably real soon because, like you said, Nintendo loves to sue, and they'll put people in jail big time. So I can't wait to see what comes out of this. This USA is
just
probably
ask
just
Mr.
getting
Bowser.
downloaded all over the place. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Bowser's he's getting his warp pipe tore open right now. So yeah, Nintendo don't play around, and I think Nintendo. I don't know who has more money, Nintendo or Valve, or not Valve. Gabe Newell. I mean, who would
It's
have
Valve.
more
It's his
money?
company. Yeah.
I mean, who has more money?
I would imagine probably Nintendo, but
Probably
I don't know their
Nintendo.
net worth.
I don't know. I just can't wait to see what comes out of this. Next thing we're gonna have Nintendo versus Valve. Valve's like, hey, screw you. My lawyers, say we're good, and your lawyers say we're bad. It's gonna end up in a court somewhere, I bet. What about you, Nick? Game Boy shirt.
Yeah, I mean, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with all of this. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm sure Nintendo will do something or say something, right? They're both pretty big companies with lots of money, so they could both fight it out in court, But that is also, like you said, Shane, that's kind of a call to Nintendo, like, hey, you need better hardware out there, right? Because that's all we're clamoring for is something that's more efficient to play your games. It kind of reminds me of, like, I was talking to these guys about Harvestella that's coming out soon. And that's a Square Enix game. It's coming out to Switch and PC. And they have a demo for it on the Switch. And that's a perfect that game is a perfect test case for the Switch needing an upgrade, because that game looks horrible on Switch. They don't have a demo on PC, but I've seen the pictures of the game on Steam, and it looks good. But on Switch, it's a graphical nightmare. It's like everything is fuzzy. I mean, it almost hurts your eyes to look at because it's so bad. It's just so fuzzy. And so, besides Nintendo games, I think we've seen the limitations of what the Switch can do, right? I think it'd be in Nintendo's best interest to come out with some other new Switch device that's more powerful. I mean, there's still going to be people emulating, even if a new, more powerful Switch came out, there's still going to have emulators out there, right? And Steam, you can have, I think it runs. Does it have its own OS, or does it just run Windows? I'm not 100% sure. Do you guys know?
I thought at one point it was like a Linux base, but I have to look here.
Oh, I think you're right. I think it is Linux based, but I thought you could install like Windows on it or something like that.
Yeah, it's a Linux based system. You can
right, true. I guess you
can.
On it. Yeah. So, I mean, and this emulator may run on Linux. Who knows? Probably does. So, that's not going to stop emulation from happening. And it's bad PR for Steam to put these videos out and have that on there. But that ain't the only emulator they have on there, right? They probably have a ton of emulators that they've put on and off on the Steam just to make sure they can get them to run, because they know that, well, I mean, one, they probably want to, right? And they know that somebody's going to find a way to put it on there, right? These emulators. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think we'll be hearing about a lawsuit. I think it'll probably be I think we won't hear anything. I think it'll be just, if anything happens, it'll be decided between Nintendo and Valve, and we won't hear crap about it. I don't think there's going to be like our news articles and, it's going to be televised on TV or something like that. It'll probably be Doug Bowser's going to call Gabe and be like, naughty. We had a Steam Deck emulator running on our Switch. But we caught it before we released it. No, that wouldn't be a thing, but that'd be funny. But they might just give him a slap on the wrist. They might look for damages or something like that. It depends on Nintendo's a weird creature, right? It seems like the smaller people are, the more they want to show them up, and the bigger companies are, who knows what they do to them, because we typically don't hear any of that stuff, right? They probably, Steam's got enough, Valve's got enough lawyers, as well as Nintendo, that they can all settle it behind the scenes. So if there's anything.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, we may not. The only way we'll know anything is if an actual lawsuit's filed, and then that goes into public purview there at that point. So, but I mean, they are known for being litigious, right? That Gary Bowser he was talking about, I think he had got sued, and they had to pay like $10 million to them or something for selling a Nintendo hack. That was just a hack, Yeah. Now there's a new device on the market that's heating up that is, it's a PC item, but it is, like you said, it's competitive with the Switch. If I can run my Switch games on it, why do I need the Switch that you mentioned? It's an underpowered piece of hardware at this point. It is showing its age. And in my opinion, it showed its age shortly after it came out. I mean, it's hard to pack a punch in a mobile platform, unfortunately, in a handheld platform. Steam did it though. And how long the Steam Deck will be valid for, to be determined,
2 years.
I don't know. With all the indie topics and indie titles out there, stuff is coming out seeming more retro and older dated than new stuff, right? So I mean, it may be valid for the next 10 years.
I mean, and Steam or Valve is already talking about a Steam Deck 2, right? They've already talked about that being in development. Nintendo hasn't talked about a new Switch or even one being in development, even though there's been lots of rumors about one. And I'm sure there has to be at this point in time, at least in some sort of stage, like not early stages, but middle stages or something, of some sort of Switch 2 or something like that. Because Steam, even with the Steam Deck, they talked about a Steam Deck 2 before the Steam Deck even even started reservations for it, right? To buy one. They were already in the works for the second model of it. And the Steam Deck's done really good for Valve. So, Valve's had a lot of hardware that usually crashes and burns, but the two pieces of hardware that have worked out for them is their VR headset and the Steam Deck. Steam Deck's done really well for them. So, might as well go to a second one, and that's going to be even more powerful than the one that they have now, right? And that's something that Nintendo needs to think about sooner than later.
Well,
Right.
Nintendo just needs to stop thinking about portable, unless they're going to make just a portable handheld, not a console handheld hybrid. They need to get out of that. They need to go back to making a console. I mean, it's just plain and simple.
But you have to understand, I'm with you guys on this. I wish Nintendo would get out of the handheld. I wish Nintendo would go back to having the handheld and having the console. I wish they would go back to that split. I understand that's probably not economically feasible, but I thought the 3DSs and all that stuff did amazingly well for them. In my opinion, the other consoles that kind of died off, the Wii U and all that stuff, was because of shovelware and Wii and stuff like that. It was all just shovelware, in my opinion. And they basically were in that console. But the Switch is also cheaper than any of the Steam Deck versions, right? Because you can get a Steam Deck for $400 to $650. You're not spending that. What are they now? Are they $300, $250? I think you can get a deal on them for $250. So it's a cheap thing. Now, would I buy a $400 handheld? No. Would I buy a $400 Nintendo console? Probably. Because it's more powerful, bigger. It can, maybe if it's bigger. If they dropped a handheld sized console, I probably wouldn't spend $400 on it because I knew the power of that device can't be that strong. But that's just me. Would you guys buy a $400 handheld by Nintendo?
No, I just
probably
I couldn't imagine it. Well,
what were the 3DSs back in the day? The 3D XL was, I think, really popular. I can't remember how much those things went for back in the day, but they weren't that much.
3DS XL was $199 if I remember right.
So, like I said, I'm not big into handheld. So if Nintendo went back to splitting out their console, I would probably own both. And I would tell you why I would own both. I would own the console for myself, and I would own the handheld for my girlfriend and my kid. My kid loves games like that. I guarantee if I got her a handheld, she would play the crap out of it more than she plays any of the other stuff. So,
yeah.
That's just me. But doesn't mean that I would not play those games, because I did pick up back in the day when I had a 3D XL, 3DS XL. It wasn't mine. It was my girlfriend's at the time, and I would play it occasionally to check out the games. Or when they got I would just play those. So that's me. What about, I don't know.
Same.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think they
$200.
were $200. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's not that bad. But a $400 handheld console is a little hard to swallow.
It is. If it's powerful and I can see like the types of games it produces, then I would be more apt to be like, okay, yeah, I could do something like that.
If we're playing God of War Ragnarok on it, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
but you also have to remember, Sony put out their handhelds and they didn't work out. They were fantastic systems, but what made Nintendo's work, in my just an opinion, in my opinion, what made Nintendo's works is games. Those games on the 3DS, or hell, even the old spinach Game Boys, were fantastic and fun. Lots of people tried making handhelds. Atari, they came out with the Linux, the Lynx, but they don't have games. So if you're going to make a $400 handheld, you would want it to be made by somebody who makes good games for a handheld. And Nintendo definitely has a pedigree for that. So
I guess.
Now, if Xbox came out with a $400 handheld, I would.
I'm not touching
it. I'd tell them to waffle stomp that turd. I wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah, that's why I'm not interested in these Razer 5G, whatever they're coming out with, the Logitech one, you know. I'm not even really interested in the Steam Deck, to be honest with you. I've got a gaming PC. I don't play handhelds. But so let us know what you guys think, you know. Would you know, what do you think about this faux pas by Valve on their video they released? I mean, it was only a split-second screenshot, but some eagle-eyed detective out there in the old gaming sphere out there saw it and basically made a comment, and then it was quickly gone. So let us know. You know, also let us know what your thoughts are on handheld gaming. I mean, do you own a Steam Deck? Do you want a Steam Deck? You know, and things like that, you know. Try to keep it a little civil, but, you know, you guys hear our little takes on ROMs. What about your takes on ROMs? You know, ROMs are always a hot button subject, no matter where you go. They can be hot button because everybody has their opinions, and some people are fiercely, you know, defending those opinions, whether they're right or wrong. So let us know what you think. And if you made it to the end of this video and you haven't subscribed to our channel or liked the video, how come? You know, might as well help us out. Doesn't cost anything for a like and a subscribe, but it helps us out to keep making new videos. So we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.